by the board. The board decided to appoint an assistant teacher and to put a new shelf in the classroom. 1895, in consequence of a circus being in the village, it was thought advisable to close on Thursday afternoon. And I noticed from the infant school, no less, the attention of the board is drawn to the unseemly writing and drawing on the door of the offices. 1896, this morning, Herbert Badger, who has much upset discipline in the first class lately by his persistence in talking to the bigger girls, was requested to shift his seat to prevent him doing so. Instead of taking the seat indicated by the master, he moved to one of his own choice. It was impossible to pass over such an act, so he received 2 strokes across the shoulder. However, on going home, his mother sent an absence letter to the master and indicated her intention of withdrawing him, which, for the sake of the school, no regrets are necessary. Notice received from the department that a grant has been made to this school of £30 for strengthening and maintaining staff and effecting repairs. The boys have been playing hockey lately with great enthusiasm, but, breaking a window in the lobby, they were asked to subscribe a halfpenny each and get it mended. Only 2 were honourable enough to do so, so hockey has been stopped and the sticks burned. Extremely hot, difficult to interest the children. Mrs. Townsend very kindly sent the children some lemonade, each child having as much as they liked. A surprise vastly appreciated by the little ones. Had the clock put back a quarter of an hour, it being that fast by station time. Vast load of coke supplied is largely mixed with small dust, which is not to the advantage of the customer and was not ordered. 1900. Victoria White admitted, aged 13 years and unable to do standard 1 work, having come from the backwoods of America. On Friday, old Miles, the monitress, left school in her usual health, but on Monday a message came that she was not well. On Thursday afternoon, she died. Her loss will be felt by the teachers, for she had become a capable teacher, having been in the school as a monitress 7 years, and as a scholar from the age of 7. The children were very much grieved by her sudden death. I see we now have 2 scholars from standards 1 and 2 who have prepared some poems for recitation. Come forward, please. I will hear you now.
English History by Louisa Watts. The children of England were once very rude. They prayed not to God, but to stone and to wood. They wore no nice clothing, as children now do, but were naked, or a rough skin ran them through. A great many people called Romans there came, and taught them to make many things I could name. Till the ground, sow the seed, from whence the corn springs, build houses, make clothes, and a great many things. They had no nice school, nor yet any book, nor pretty pictures at which they could look. But idly they rambled around all the day. Some sold were as slaves, and were carried away. At Rome once, some children with fair rosy face were standing for sale in a great marketplace. A good man who saw them into the Highlands bound, cries, "Postman, do not tarry, and I'll give thee a silver pound to row us o'er the ferry." Now who be ye would cross Loch Gyle, this dark and stormy water? "Oh, I'm the chief of Alva's Ire, and this Lord Allen's daughter." And fast before her father's men 3 days we fled together, for should he find us in the glen, my blood would stain the heather. His horsemen hard behind us ride, should they our steps discover, then who will cheer my bonny bride when they have slain her lover? Up spake the hardy Highland wife, "I'll go, my chief, I'm ready. It is not for your silver bright, but for your winsome lady. And by my word, the bonny bird in danger shall not tarry. So though the waves be raging white, I'll row you o'er the ferry." By this the storm grew loud apace, the water wraith was shrieking, and in the scowl of heaven each face grew dark as they were speaking. As the wind grew wilder yet, and as the night grew drearer, adown the glen rode armed men, their tramping sounded nearer. "Oh, haste thee, haste," the lady cries, "though tempests round us gather, I'll meet the raging of the skies, but not an angry father." The boat has left the stormy shore, a stormy sea before her, when all too strong for human hands, the tempest gathered o'er her. And still they rowed against the roar of waters fast prevailing. Lord Allen reached that fatal shore. His wrath was changed to wailing. For sore dismayed, through storm and shade, his child he did discover. One lovely arm she stretched for aid, and one was round her lover. Come back, he cried in grief, across the stormy water, and I'll forgive your Highland chief, my daughter, oh, my daughter." 'Twas vain. The loud waves lashed the shore, return or aid preventing. The waters wild swept o'er his child, and he was left lamenting.
And on this unique occasion, you are presenting the certificates. Just received a mysterious message which I'm afraid I don't understand. It says YAR609X has something called windscreen wipers turned on and the battery may run down. If that does mean anything to anyone in the audience, they may care to act on it. Not is all well in the Wychwoods these days, particularly among the agricultural labouring class. We are privileged to have among us this evening a distinguished member of Oxford University who has made a special study of the problem and will be telling us something of his findings. Sir?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're all familiar with the monument erected 7 years ago on the village green at Shipton for the 17 men, women and children from the village who perished in the last loss of the ship Cospatrick. This monument may be taken as a reminder not only of the disaster itself, but also of the Wychwoods' considerable part in the peopling of New Zealand during the early 70s. At that time, the combination of depressed farming, rigid social hierarchy, and judicial harshness gave a strong impetus to emigration by poor labourers under union organisation. But what did they hope to get at the other end? In November '73, Charles Carter, the New Zealand recruiting representative, at a meeting in Milton, attended by 600 people, described the advantages of his country in climate and beauty, superior to any other colony in the world. He said that in 2 years, his ships had taken out 10,000 emigrants without a single shipwreck. 3 weeks later, 3 families from Milton, with 22 children between them, left for Hawke's Bay, North Island. With them went a family of 7 from Tainton, called Harding. The ship reached Napier in March 1874. The Hardings stayed 14 weeks with friends from Burford, named Smith, while their own cottage was being built. Then Sarah Harding wrote in July, "I must tell you, the children are getting quite fat, and so is Ted. As for myself, I can't remember the time when I felt so strong and well. I suppose it's having plenty to eat of good, substantial food. You know we didn't have enough in the old country. The price of wages out here is 7 and 8 shillings a day, from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 at night. If it keeps fine this month, Ted's wages will be about £13. Don't you think that's better than working at home for £2.16? Tell John Pinfold there is no sitting under the hedge gnawing a piece of bread and onion and talking over bad times. Ted hasn't got a horse yet, but is thinking of getting one soon. I have been on Mr. Smith's pony. They say I'm a good jockey, better than Mrs. Smith. Ted thinks of getting some land before the summer is over." Of the 10 landless Oxfordshire men on that voyage, 7 by now own freehold land, totaling 805 acres. Not everyone had so trouble-free a passage. On the SS Mongol, sailing in December 1873, there was an outbreak of measles and scarlet fever, from which a number of children died. A clergyman on board recorded, while the passengers waited at Quarantine Island off Dunedin, one of the quartermasters, a hard, weather-beaten old sailor, came up to me very quietly. I knew him well. It was he who sewed up the dead bodies and held the plank from which they were committed to the deep. A grim-looking man he was, and I thought quite callous. And it appeared strange to me that the children liked him and called him uncle. On this occasion he looked quite changed. His usually harsh voice was soft and low, and his face kind and gentle. He asked about the little girl who had died on the island. Was it her as used to wear the red cloak and call me uncle, with black eyes and hair? I told him it was. Ah, poor lassie. I'm sorry for her. I'm glad she didn't die on board. On asking why, he said, well, you see, at first the children didn't like me, because 'twas I buried them. And the little lass caught me hold of my hand one day after her sister had died, and asked me would I throw her into the sea too if she died, and then began to cry, and said, Uncle, sure you won't throw me over. So I promised her I would not, neither would I. And yet, you know, as with the rest, somebody should do it. It was my duty. I carried them in my arms as gently as their own mothers could, and wrapped the Union Jack about them so softly that if they were asleep, they couldn't feel me. Now, didn't I? The mother of that little girl, who lost 3 of her 4 daughters, had the courage to write home 6 months later, if you want to come out of bondage into liberty, come out here. Joe says he will get you all such a meal as you've never had at home. But start when we did. We never had a storm all the voyage. We should have come over beautifully if it had not been for the fever. 10 years on, she and her husband have a family of 4 daughters and 2 sons, and own a small farm in North Island. With such brave and enterprising men and women, it isn't surprising that they were attracted to a new life and have made a success of it. So ships left regularly for the next 12 months, taking many emigrants, including 2 of the Ascot martyrs, and the one babe in arms, and John Pinfold of Tainton. Then came the Cospatrick. That ship left in September 1874 for Auckland with 429 people on board. It caught fire at midnight on the 17th November in the South Atlantic. 360 died in the fire or by drowning. 62 got into 2 lifeboats, but only 4, and they crewmen, survived to be rescued 10 days later, and one of those died soon after. There was a far worse loss of life than in the Tay Bridge crash 5 years later. After this, mass emigration from the Wychwoods stopped, perhaps because the loss affected many relatives who remained here, or perhaps because conditions here have slowly improved. But of the more than 200 who went to New Zealand from West Oxfordshire, few returned, and most of those who stayed prospered. Let us hope that in future years they may become a strong help and support to the mother country.
All his life in the fields of Milton village, through good times and through strife. But I be fair unsettled, the times be fearful bad, and the land of promise beckons, so to leave home, all be sad. But me thoughts too long are coming in, I be fed up a waiting. So me, the wife, 8 kids, the dog and cat, and me old dad, we be all a emigrating. done. No more be I to fire the bark of that wily caper's gun. I makes no bones about it. I had to fill the pot. Ha! Me labourer's wage of 10 and 6? It certainly did not. No more I'll see the hungry eyes for rich folks' crumbs a-waiting. For me, me wife, kids, the dog and cat, and me old dad, we be all a-hemigrated. The times be hard for farmers too. They be mortal bad hard pressed. Imported corn, ridge-rated meat, and dreaded rinderpest. Looming great loads of corn comes in from countries overseas. Do seem to me they foreign lands do be the places to be. There's miles and miles of empty land for hungry folks a-waiting. So me wife, kids, dog and cat, and me old dad, we be all a-hemigrated. The only un they did set up to help the likes of me. But a mating held on Milton Green, we all subscribed their fee. The demands we made were simple. A basic 9-hour day, 13 bob a week the minimum, harvest 4 bob a day. You march, he spoke, and promised us their strength would end their waiting. But me, the wife, and his, the dog and cat, and the old dad, we be all a-hemigrating. For I were smitten by the words of someone called Charles Carter, a construction man from New Zealand. Good workers he were arter. So we've up sticks and left today on the Great Western Railway. Our minds made up, no gloom will mar ere go the destinations far. So here we be, the family, at Liverpool docks, a-waiting. 'Cause me, the wife, kids, the dog and cat, and the old dad, we be all a-hemigrated. New Zealand, here we come.
Whilst my pianist says, just hang on a minute, Vicar. It's not the sort of language we're used to. It's not escaped my notice that clergymen and Americans have rather been the butt of certain humour this evening. Half of my friends from America and myself, we take it in good heart. Enough is enough. When I was asked what I would like to sing this evening to bring this evening to a close, I thought there could be nothing more appropriate than to sing the song, words by Adelaide A. Proctor, the music by our beloved Arthur Sullivan, The Lost Chord.
What
crimson twilight, like the close of an angel's song, and it lay on my fevered spirit with a touch of infinite calm. It quieted pain and sorrow, like love overcoming strife. It seemed the harmonious echo from a discordant life. It linked all perplexed meanings into one perfect peace, and trembled away to silence, as if it were loath to cease. I have sought, but I seek it vainly, that long-lost chord divine, which came from the soul of the organ, and entered into mine. It may be that death's bright angel will speak in that chord again. It may be that only in heaven I shall hear that great amen. It may be that death's bright angel will speak in that chord again. It may be that only in heaven I shall hear that grand Now I'm going to ask members of the cast to come up on the stage with me. We might conclude with a very brief but very well sung